important era in Australia's monetary history. Piece of Australian coin history. The 1981 Australian 10-cent coin, especially in very fine condition, and what it might be worth in today's market. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just curious about coins, stick around because this early decimal coin has some cool stories and surprising value potential you'll want to hear about. Let's rewind back to 1966 when Australia introduced decimal currency and replaced the old imperial system. Among the new coins was the classic 10-cent piece, featuring Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse and the iconic Australian lyrebird on the reverse. Fast forward to 1981, the Royal Australian Mint struck millions of these 10-cent coins, making it a fairly common date in terms of production numbers. But don't let that fool you. Coins from this era are now over 40 years old, and when you find one in very fine condition, it becomes a lot more interesting to collectors because most examples have worn down from circulation over the decades. Coins described as very fine still show clear details of the Queen's portrait and the lyrebird feathers, with only light wear visible. This level of condition tells a story. It survived everyday life, yet looks great for its age, something that coin enthusiasts truly appreciate. Now let's talk about what this coin is made of. The 1981 Australian 10-cent coin is composed of a cupro-nickel alloy, a mixture of copper and nickel that gives it a nice silvery look and excellent durability. Its weight and size remain consistent with earlier decimal issues, making it instantly recognizable to collectors around the world. Despite its simple design and everyday use, this coin represents an important era in Australia's monetary history. A time when decimal currency had firmly taken hold and modern Australian coinage was being embraced nationwide. So, you might be wondering, why do collectors care about a 10-cent piece from 1981? Well, the demand comes from a few different angles. First, this coin is part of the long-running Australian decimal series, and many collectors want a complete set with each year represented including 1981. Second, factors like condition and scarcity in higher grades kick up interest. A 1981 coin in very fine or uncirculated condition simply isn't as common as the worn coins you find in pocket change or piggy banks. That means collectors are willing to pay a little extra over face value to fill gaps in their albums or showcase a nicer example in their collection. There are also coins from this year with rare mistakes or unusual production characteristics that some collectors love to hunt for. While these era coins are separate from the standard issue and much rarer, they add excitement to collecting and raise awareness about the broader series, ultimately increasing interest in all 1981 Australian 10-cent coins. For a regular 1981 Australian 10-cent coin in circulation, most examples today are still worth around their face value or slightly above when sold in bulk. Listings online often show these priced at just a few Australian dollars, generally well under $1.75, $0. However, the story gets interesting when we talk about special varieties. Some coins from 1981 were struck on a wrong planche or in unusual formats, and those can command much higher values with rare specimens sometimes listed around $1.75, $0 or more from dedicated collectors. Just keep in mind that these era coins are distinct from the standard regular coin and are genuinely rare. If we narrow it down to a very fine condition standard 1981 Australian 10-cent coin based on recent sales and listings, you might see it valued moderately above usually in the single-digit to low double-digit dollar range, because collectors paying for condition will offer more than what it costs to buy it as change at a bank. Before we wrap up, here are a few positive collector tips if this coin has caught your interest. First, always check the condition carefully. Coins graded higher from very fine to uncirculated usually command higher prices and history points. Look for crisp details and minimal wear when comparing. Second, do your own research and use real recent sale data when valuing your coin. Sites like numismatic price guides and successful auction listings are fantastic resources to see what collectors are actually paying right now. And finally, if you find something that looks unusual, grab a second opinion from a respected coin dealer or a collector community online because sometimes the rarest treasures are hiding right under your nose. So there you have it, the story of the 1981 Australian 10-cent coin, from its history and composition to collector demand and how much it might be worth today. Even though most examples are common and affordable, finding one in very fine condition is a rewarding experience both for the joy of collecting and the possible value it holds. If you've got a stash of old coins at home, take a closer look. You never know what small treasure might be waiting in your pocket change. Next up, today we're diving into something special, a humble yet fascinating piece of Australian currency that's captured the interest of collectors around the world. The 2004 Australian 10-cent coin, particularly examples in very fine condition and how it fares in today's market. If you ever wondered whether that small silver coin in your change could be worth a little more, stick around. We're exploring history, design, value, collector demand, and tips for collectors of all levels. Although the Australian 10-cent coin may seem like everyday pocket change, its story goes back to the very beginning of Australia's decimal currency system. Introduced on 14 February 1966, the 10-cent denomination replaced the old shilling and has remained a cornerstone of Australian coinage ever since. The 2004 issue carries on this remarkable lineage, featuring the classic designs that generations have grown up with. On the obverse, you'll find the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, a familiar and respectful nod to Australia's heritage, while the reverse proudly displays the elegant lyrebird, Australia's beloved native bird, designed by Stuart Devlin and unchanged in its overall theme since 1966. When we talk about a coin in very fine condition, we're referring to a piece that has clearly seen circulation but still retains much of its detail. The portrait and lyrebird remain crisp and wears light rather than heavy. It's not mint condition, but it's a beautiful example of a coin that has stood the test of time. The 2004 Australian 10-cent coin is a round, beautifully balanced piece struck in a copper-nickel alloy, giving it a satisfying heft of about and a pleasant silvery shine. Its edge is reeded, which means it's lined with small grooves of detail that not only adds texture and security, but also gives the coin that classic numismatic look collectors love. The diameter is about comfortably between a penny and a quarter in size and easily recognizable in the hand. Foreign. This durable composition has helped many 2004 10-cent coins survive in lovely condition, making them fun and attractive to both casual hobbyists and serious collectors alike. Now you might be asking, is the 2004 Australian 10-cent coin rare? The straightforward answer is that it's not extraordinarily rare in the coin world. With a mintage of over 89 million pieces, it was one of the more widely struck 10-cent issues of its era. However, just because something is common doesn't mean it isn't collectible. Coins like the 2004 10-cent can be wonderful starters for anyone entering the world of numismatics, and even modest variations in condition can spark interest among enthusiasts. In fact, collectors will often pay extra for coins graded higher than average circulation condition. Beyond this, rare error varieties such as partial strikes and other minting anomalies can add intrigue and sometimes significantly higher values compared to regular examples link. So, while a standard 2004 Australian 10-cent coin might be common, the story doesn't stop there. Collectors love variety, history, and subtle differences, and that means a coin like this can be more exciting than it appears at first glance. Let's talk money. What is a 2004 Australian 10-cent coin worth right now if it's in very fine condition? Unlike some world coins that can fetch hundreds or thousands, this one is generally considered modestly valued in the collector market. Most examples of this coin in very fine are typically worth slightly more than online coin catalogs, and sales listings suggest a range roughly between around USD and about $USD, depending on condition and market interest on sites like eBay. If the coin is uncirculated, meaning it has never been used in everyday transactions and retains its original mint luster, it can sell for a bit more. Some listings on collector marketplaces show these coins offered at a few dollars, sometimes around $1.75, $1,000, $2.40, $0 or more, especially when they come from uncirculated rolls or mint sets. Remember, these values reflect the general collector market at the moment and can fluctuate over time with trends, demand, and even special finds that draw attention. If you're just starting your coin collecting journey or looking to grow your Australian decimal coin collection, here are a few friendly tips to help you make the most of your hobby. First, always handle coins carefully, ideally by the edges, to keep them as clean and untouched as possible. Light oils from your fingers can dull the surfaces over time. Next, invest in a good coin reference book or app. This can help you identify not only the 2004 Australian 10 cent, but many other interesting coins from around the world. Regularly browsing sales records on auction or marketplace sites will also give you a feel for real-world collector valuation trends. And most importantly, enjoy the hunt. Some of the best parts of collecting are the stories behind the finds and the thrill of spotting something special among a pile of change. To wrap it all up, the 2004 Australian 10 cent coin is a lovely piece of numismatic history. Whether you found one in great condition, added it to your collection, or simply enjoy learning about coins, this humble 10 cent piece carries with it decades of tradition and design excellence. It's not only about the value in dollars, it's about connecting with history, appreciating craftsmanship, and sharing a passion that spans borders and generations. If you enjoyed this look at the 2004 Australian 10 cent coin and want to dive into more fascinating coin stories, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss what's coming. Next up, today we're diving into the fascinating world of Australian coins, focusing on a coin many of you have been asking about, the 2010 Australian 10 cent coin in very fine condition. We'll explore what makes it interesting for collectors, its history and features, why some people look for it, what it might be worth today in the market, and helpful tips if you're a collector yourself. So grab your coins and let's get started. The 2010 Australian 10 cent coin might look familiar to most people because it's been in everyday circulation for years, but for collectors, it has a story worth knowing. This coin was struck by the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra and features the iconic lyrebird design on the reverse, a symbol of Australia's unique wildlife, and the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse. It's part of Australia's decimal coinage that has circulated since 1966, and in 2010 alone, nearly 105 million of these little coins were produced for circulation, with additional examples struck for uncirculated mint sets. Now here's where condition becomes fascinating for collectors. A coin described as very fine means it shows some light wear from handling, but the major design details are still crisp and beautiful, giving it strong appeal over coins that are heavily worn, scratched, or damaged. That elevated condition often makes it more desirable than the average pocket change you find at the grocery checkout. Let's talk about the coin itself. This 2010 Australian 10 cent piece is a round copper-nickel coin, weighing just over measuring roughly and with a reeded edge, the ridged edge you can feel when you pick it up. It's made from a blend of a metal combination that gives it durability and that classic silvery sheen that many coin enthusiasts love to hold and examine under light. Whether you encounter it in circulated condition or preserved nicely in a collection, the feel and look of this coin tell part of its story. So, is the 2010 Australian 10 cent coin rare? Well, in the strictest numismatic definition, it's considered more scarce rather than extremely rare because of the large number that were produced. What happens in the collector community is that coins from everyday circulation become interesting when people start to look for specific qualities like excellent preservation, distinctive strike details, or sometimes even mistakes from the mint. Coins in very fine condition today are often sought after by beginning or intermediate collectors because they represent a tangible piece of modern currency that still holds character and history without being extremely expensive. While this particular 2010 Australia 10 cent coin isn't the one that typically goes for thousands of dollars, coins that have unusual features or are in exceptionally high grades do catch attention and can sell for a bit more than on collector marketplaces. eBay Australia. Let's talk about value. If you're simply comparing, this coin is worth 10 cents in everyday transactions. But in the collector market, especially when a piece is graded as very fine, that value jumps above face because of the interest collectors have in preserving attractive examples. Current online collector catalogs show that a 2010 Australian 10 cent in very fine condition might bring roughly around $140,000 to $160,000 US cents, depending on the buyer and condition specifics. That's already higher than everyday change, and a solid return if you're selling multiple pieces. Uncirculated versions from mint sets or certified higher-grade coins can sometimes fetch even more, and there are individual sales online where mint-grade coins list for well above, sometimes into double-digit Australian dollars, especially if graded by a professional coin grading service like. Remember, coin prices vary widely based on who's buying, where you sell, and how the coin is presented. The market can change over time as interest in coins waxes and wanes. If you're getting into coin collecting or looking to grow your collection, here are some positive tips to help you make the most of it. First, always handle coins carefully. Oils and debris from your fingers can diminish a coin's surface quality over time, so use gloves or hold them by the edges. Second, take the time to learn grading basics terms like very fine, extremely fine, and uncirculated all have specific meanings and affect value. Investing time to understand these differences will make you a more confident collector. Third, join local or online coin collecting communities. Other collectors often share their insights, and you'll find more opportunities to discover interesting coins beyond your usual change. Finally, keep an eye out for unique characteristics or errors. Even modern coins can surprise you with interesting variations that some collectors find valuable. While a standard 2010 Australian 10 cent might not make someone's retirement fund, finding something out of the ordinary can be exciting and rewarding. So there you have it. The 2010 Australian 10 cent coin in very fine condition is a wonderful little piece of Australian numismatic history. It tells a story of everyday commerce, craftsmanship from the Royal Australian Mint, and the passion of collectors around the world who enjoy preserving coins for generations to come. Value comes not just in dollars and cents, but in the joy of discovery, careful preservation, and appreciation for design and history. Whether you're holding one of these coins in your hand right now or hoping to find one soon, remember that every coin has a journey, and your interest might be the start of a beautiful collection. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment with what coin you'd like us to explore next. Until next time, happy collecting!